And we're live for another episode of the Professional Practice Builder Society Weekly Tips and Strategies Show. And I'm on the screen with my co host, Dr. Mark. Say hi to the folks. Dr. Mark.
Hello. Welcome back. This is another Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Here we are again. Here you are again. Glad you
Exactly.
could join us.
Note to self, take a breath before start talking. It works much better than trying to breathe.
Breathing is a good thing, Chris. Breathing is a good thing.
Yes, it is. So, once again, everybody, welcome. Tonight, we're going to talk about attraction-based marketing, what we're calling part three. In other words, bullet point number three for the month. The show you've all been waiting for. At least I know we've been waiting for it. We hope you have been too. And that is the 1-4-3 method. Ooh, silence
Yes,
comes
indeed.
over the crowd. So tonight we're going to talk.
It's a good thing you just reminded me of that, Chris, because I was looking ahead to next week's episode, and I was like, wait, we didn't do that one yet. We haven't done 143 yet. I thought,
So,
never mind.
so you jumped in the virtual time machine and went,
I
we're
did.
gonna figure out how to massively distribute. Oops, that's next week's
That's
episode.
next week. That's right. So, all right, 143. Now I know what we're talking about, Chris.
Oh, you know what? It's always good. No, for all of those of you out there who want to produce a show like this, it's always good if your host and co-host know what they're going to be talking about before they jump on screen.
Especially
Usually,
when they already spoke about it earlier in the day.
but we have no
So let's
memories.
get into this,
Yes,
Chris.
let's.
What is 143?
Oh,
What do these numbers mean, and why do people care?
yeah, exactly. Well, 1-4-3 stands for one theme, four, four content pieces, and three bullet points about each content piece.
Hmm.
And what it really does is help you structure a way to take the content that you want to take to the world and start to help you systematize your content creation. We were putting this all together when we started the Professional Practice Builder Society, and as we're looking at launching something geared more also towards coaches specifically, we realized that what we had done every time we were successful and what we were done every time we failed was two different things. In other words, the successful times where we stayed focused, we had a theme and then individual snippets about that theme and bullet points so that people knew what they were going to walk away with. And the times we weren't successful, we just kind of got up and winged it. Well, we took that, and Mark, I'm going to throw it back to you for a second. We kind of took that and combined it with our concept of a TV show like we do here every week, to give people a way to create content in that format, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, we're all about content. We're all about helping you build your practice by building great content that demonstrates your expertise. But the problem that we've worked our way through, that we know everyone else is working their way through too, is how do you keep consistently creating good content, great content on a regular basis, so that you're kind of building this rhythm, you're building a presence where people kind of know you're going to show up again. You're going to come back to them with more good stuff, and not have it just be random all over the place. So we started with creating great content, and we gave you the IDAP system, so that a way of working through the actual creation of a chunk of content by identifying problems, by then defining the outcome, articulating steps, and then packaging it. So then we have been talking to you about this thinking a little bit of a broader, a longer time horizon, and identifying themes from that problem list that you started out with in IDAP, and mapping out a month, 2 months, 3 months, this rolling sort of timeline. Well, 143 now is the structure that lets you kind of do that. So, we were talking about, looking at the problem areas, that your identified client has, your ideal client has, and looking for that theme. Well, now you're going to pick that theme, and you're going to say, all right, this is a core problem that my ideal target audience has, and that I have expertise about, and that I've got some passion about. And you've broken out a series of pieces. Now they can be step-by-step 4 pieces, they can be 4 related pieces, but they all relate to the big theme. And why 4? Hey, because there are typically about 4 weeks in every month, right? Go figure. So that's where the 4 comes from. So that you're trying to create this rhythm where every week you're coming back to your audience with more great information, but bundling it on a theme for the month.
Exactly. And whether you're out there creating a TV show like this, or whether you're blogging, or regardless of how you're getting the content to people, if you touch people on a on a basis of a minimum of once a week, they're going to start to get to know, like, and trust you, and they're going to start to build a rapport with you. So once again, even if you're not interested in creating a show, which we believe you should be, and we can help you with that, even if you're not interested in that, touching people once a week with great content is the best way to start filling your sales funnel, which we're going to talk about in future episodes. And it's the best way
Right.
to get people to know, like, and trust you, because they're going to get used to it. I mean,
Well, and it's a rhythm that we're all used to, right? I mean, we all, if you watch television, if you watch shows, I mean, you're used to the structure of this week's episode. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, or if you're pick a show that, but you've got a season, you've got a weekly episode, and you look forward to that. Even if you're a binge watcher like me, where you store them all up on your DVR and then you watch them all at once, but you're still used to this episode being produced and published and distributed once a week. So it's just a structure that fits people's expectations pretty easily.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mark. And it's one that just kind of we hadn't talked about before, but I think is really applicable. Part of the reason that this works so well and that we've had such success with it is because audiences have been conditioned, just like you just said. Whether it's even now that things are getting into binge watching, audiences are conditioned to expect something new on a weekly basis, and that's
Hey,
what.
but Chris, we've got binge watching covered too. All anyone has to do is actually become a member of the society and come into the membership site. And they can binge watch every episode that we've ever done of this show.
And you can watch them twice if you really want to, or three
That's
times, or
right.
10 times. You're exactly right. So Mark, after we understand this concept of 143, where we want to take a theme,
Well,
with this.
we forgot to actually just. I know it's clear, but we've just for the sake of completeness, we didn't mention the three. Okay, so we got to 1 and 4, but the three then is three key bullet points for the 4 episodes for the month that you're doing. So I think that was probably clear and implied, but I just want to make sure that it's been stated. So it's one theme for the month. It's 4 episodes for the month. It's the three key takeaway points that you're wanting to cover in that individual episode, so that it's all nice and digestible and manageable. So
Right, exactly. Which in the end is the real big benefit of doing it this way. I mean, other than systematizing the content creation and getting into a rhythm, that's the benefit to you as the producer. But the
right,
benefit to the consumer and the benefit to your ideal client is making it digestible.
right. You
And
want to
whether
give
they
them some good takeaways.
Exactly. And whether they want to spend 15 minutes a week and watch it, whether they want to spend an hour a week and watch it, whether they want to wait till the end of the month and spend 4 hours one Saturday just watching all your videos, they can then choose what their digestible chunk is, and feed it to themselves in whatever format that they want. But
Right,
there's a couple of steps after the 143, after understanding that you
right,
that you need to go out with this theme, the episodes or the main points about the theme, and then the key takeaways from each of the main points. And that's kind of step 2 for tonight, which is creating a basic content map.
right.
Mark, give the folks a brief overview of what we're talking about, what we
Absolutely.
mean by a
So
basic content map.
So we just told you what 143 is, but see, now you actually have to do 143. It requires a little bit of work. It's not magic. Just because you've said you're going to do 143, Chris and I actually spent a few hours earlier today continuing to work on our, content mapping process and doing 143. So what you're doing now is literally taking the problems off your problem list. So think all the way back to IDAP, where you kind of brainstormed all those you identified all of those problems that your ideal client has that you can help them with. And what you're going to essentially do is construct an outline here. Think back to good old ninth grade here. I remember my ninth grade English teacher, Mrs. Petty. She drilled this into my head over and over again. You know, you got the Roman numeral, and then you got the capital letter, and then underneath that you got the little Arabic numeral, and if you keep going, you got the little sub letters. But we're only going 3 layers deep here. So
Yes,
each of the main
three.
problems, each of the main problems is your Roman numeral on the outline. So let's say you've identified, let's just pick 3, okay, because we're going to get to that. We want you to get to at least a 3-month rolling calendar. We've talked about that a little bit. We'll keep talking about that. So if you can pull 3 sort of problem areas, problem themes that you can help your ideal client with, and you put those down as Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3. So you got your 3 themes, you got 3 months there. And now you literally have A, B, C, and D under each of those Roman numerals, and you start working your way through this theme area and say, all right, so what are the specific steps that are related to that theme, or sub-problems, or however you want to organize this little domain of content that you're going to work on with your ideal audience for this month. So that's the A, B, C, and D. And then within each of those, so capital A, you're going to put 1, 2, 3. B, you're going to do 1, 2, 3. C, you get it, right? And those are those key takeaway points that you want to make sure that you've really kind of hit in each of those episodes, so that you can basically start the episode. You know, if you were doing this in kind of it's effective, but it's a little boring. I mean, but the old, I'm going to teach you 3 things today. Here are the 3 things. I taught you 3 things today. These are the 3 things. So it's a very easy way to kind of do that and cover that information. So you don't have to do it quite that rigidly, but you're going to do that. You're going to cover those 3 points on each of those. So in the end, what you've got is Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. You got 4 capital letters under each of those that are your weekly episodes, and then you've got the 3 key teaching points in each of those episodes that you're going to hit. Boom, you have just created a content map for at least 3 months worth of content, but we haven't yet decided which months they belong on, because we're about to get to that.
Right. And the interesting thing, and one of the huge benefits of creating this basic content map, once again, it's also one of the benefits of using 143, is so you can stay laser focused, because people are so busy today that they want laser focused attention, and they want to know what they're going to know what they're going to learn it, and be able to go implement it right away.
Sure.
And if you can stay focused on that, it's kind of funny, because they're doing these studies now that the I'll say old but more recent adage of under promise over deliver is starting to come into question. And here's why I bring it up, and here's why I say it. They're saying that if you just give the people what you promise them, maybe a smidge more, but not go so far in giving them 10, 20, 30 things more, then you're actually being true to your word, and psychologically the people are enjoying it much more. Well, and are actually going to like you and like your product and your services much more. And that's what a basic content map in 143 gives you. You're going to be able to promise people you're going to deliver on something, go and deliver on it, and then maybe give them a little bit more, but at least give them and stay on focus and on track for what
Sure.
you're going to deliver. Now, here's the beautiful part. Once you get this basic content map down for all of the 143 areas that you have, you then take out a calendar and you start to adjust it for your business and for your client base based on a yearly calendar, whether it's
Right.
seasonality, that sort of thing. You might
Right.
want to throttle back on some things on the summer. I know, Mark, you and I we're planning our content map out through the end of the year, and we've already said, okay, this isn't. We had one subject we were going to do a little bit later, and by putting all these out and looking at the calendar, we said, no, that's not going to work in December. We need to move it up.
Right.
This isn't
You
going to
start to be
work.
able to rearrange things and figure out where those themes really belong in the flow of things, is kind of the beauty of it. So, what we've done here then is we've gone from what is 143 to how to literally do 143 in that outline form. But now we're taking 143 and we're literally building an editorial calendar for your content. Because in the end, deadlines drive deals. If you don't have a deadline, you ever notice this? Nothing gets done unless you've agreed to be accountable to a date on the calendar and make it happen, even if it ends up being the night before. So you want to create these editorial calendar so that you have deadlines, but also so that you can be intelligent about how you're mapping out your content. Because maybe you're in the kind of business that has a certain kind of seasonality to it. Maybe there are literally holiday themes that make sense in your business. So the winter holidays or the spring holidays that you want to build some content specifically around them. Well, obviously, you don't want to do your Christmas Hanukkah theme in the middle of July, right? That doesn't make sense unless you're like, back in New York City, they had Crazy Eddie was an old store they used to have, and then they would do Christmas in July, right? So, okay. But another person's business may not be seasonal, but there may be other reasons why there are things that fit better on the calendar. You might have a product launch that you're planning for next spring, and you want to carefully map out which months are going to kind of build the anticipation for the coming product launch. So the calendar is really, really important, but it's easier to go to the calendar after you've built the content map, where you know what the themes are, what the problems are, what the solutions are, how you're going to lay it out, and then you're just kind of moving the puzzle pieces around to complete the picture for as many months as you've been able to kind of map out ahead of time.
Exactly.
Aiming for, as we've talked about, that at least that rolling 3 months. That's just a good horizon to shoot for, so that you're not just looking only 2 weeks in advance here. That just gets a little scattered when you're trying to plan things out.
Exactly. And we're gonna, actually we're gonna run a little shorter this week, but technically we're gonna run a little bit over our 15 minutes. We're gonna run a little shorter this week because we're not gonna have a full-blown social media segment.
Right.
But to kind of bring this piece back to it, back to focus. When you create your calendar-based content map and you figure out 3 months out, and if you're lucky enough to have content 6 months out, you know, as Dr. Mark said, once you get that on the calendar and figure out what you're doing in July, August, September, October, you can then put deadlines, around those to when you have to have your content developed by,
Right.
and that it'll also give you a more peaceful, easy feeling, as they would say in the old days, because fact of the matter is that if you're coming up to a show or a piece of content and you haven't done what you haven't put it together yet, you're going to be more stressed and you're not going to do as good of a job as if you take some time to prepare up front. So tonight we talked about 143, and we gave you finally for those of you who are just joining us, we gave you the insight into 143, and that is one theme for the month, 4 episodes or 4 kind of sub themes, so to speak, if you're not doing a TV show or what have you.
Right. It
And
can be a
then,
blog post. It can be a
yeah,
podcast, whatever the form of the content that you're creating.
and then 3 key points about each of those 4 points that you want to teach on any given night. You take
Right.
all of those, you create a basic content map, you lay all them out, and start putting them together. Then you take the basic content map, overlay it on top of a calendar, and come up with your rolling 3 months of content. If you do this, you're going to be
Yeah.
further ahead, and you're going to be able to deliver on your promises to your clients, and you're going to be able to get a lot more new clients. I got one real quick wrap up thing, but before I do
Yep.
that, Mark, you got anything else that you want to say about this, or any of the wrap
No,
up you
you
wanted to give?
summarized it lovely. I mean, the important thing to realize is, yes, this is incredibly simple. You guys you're looking at this and you're saying, this is so simple. Exactly. It's so simple. It's so simple that there's no excuse for not doing it. And when you do it, you're going to sigh a big sigh of relief, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that was so simple. And I know exactly where I'm going, and I know what's coming up next. And it's a good feeling. Trust me.
Yeah,
That's all I'm going to say.
exactly. So we're not going to get a full social media segment in, but I did want to give one real quick Twitter update. Twitter finally let me follow more than
You're
2,000
free.
people. Woohoo! I'm free.
You're free as a bird?
A bird, yes, could be free as a bird. And I wanted to give you guys that update because for those of you who've been following my Twitter challenges and fun, the method I gave you before really does work. I've been getting new followers every day and every week, and I finally broke through that 2,000 barrier, and I can follow more people. And it's I'm getting more and more retweets and more things happening on a daily basis. And I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you that it might take a while, but when you do things the right way, whether it's in social media, whether it comes to content creation, whether it comes to content mapping, you will succeed. Have a little bit of patience, and I challenge you today. If you resonate with Dr. Mark and I, sign up below. If you're watching this on the weekly tips at ppbsociety.com, weekly tips live webpage, look below. There's a sign up form. Get on the list so that you too can make sure you get your reminder, because you also never know when things might change a little bit. Maybe we change the day. Maybe we change the content. Maybe we change something else that you really
And
need to know about.
consider joining the society too. You, like I said, you can binge watch all of our previous episodes. They're all in the members area. It's yeah, it's fun, and you can come to tomorrow's live event.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you've been watching us for a couple of weeks now, or if you're finding this, it could even be a couple of years from now, what have you, for finding this and you start to look back at our previous episodes and say, you know what, I really resonate with these guys. I challenge you to, if you're watching this, to take a look at the website and see when our next live event's going to be. If you happen to be watching this live tonight on June 7th, on June 18th, it is the 18th.
It's tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow. If you're watching some other time, take a look and see what's on there. The other thing I challenge you to do is, if you don't resonate with us, because let's face it, we have unique personalities and we understand that not everybody's going to resonate with us, and that's okay. But you resonate with and understand the concept of content marketing and video content marketing, I challenge you to go out and start putting your content maps together today and start your content marketing. If you don't resonate with either the message or Dr. Mark or myself, I'm not sure as much we can do to help you, but you can always send us a note via ppbsociety.com and tell us why. We'd be happy to hear from you. So I think that's about it. And until next time.
What he said.
No, what he said.